Schefter's All Games greats and a future Hall of Famer. Brooklyn, Memphis, tomorrow 7:30 Eastern, ESPN TV. Missouri's hiring Cleveland State coach Dennis Gates as its new basketball coach. 7-year contract, guaranteed $21 million total.
Local sports is covered right here.
Well, appreciate what you guys do for sports, but also for high school sports and taking time to talk to us. That means a lot, and appreciate what you guys do, and appreciate you having us on.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
Glad that you are with us as we have heard Jordan Bianchi. He is scheduled to join us here in just a few moments. And this segment of the show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. Woody Anderson Ford, the home of the great Mustang. Man, they got a great selection down there of Mustangs. Not only new, but certified pre-owned Mustangs as well. One owner. It has to have a certain, low mileage type of deal. And we bought one about 3-4 months ago. In fact, was out yesterday, went to lunch yesterday with my wife in her Mustang. Had the top down. It was nice. I mean, it was just absolutely glorious. And I let her drive. I never sit in the passenger seat. I'm never in the passenger seat. And I was in the passenger seat. She's like, oh, I thought that you would want to drive. And I'm like, well, normally I do, but I'm going to sit over here. This is, it's your car. I'm going to sit over here. The service department at Woody Anderson Ford is second to none. I mean, it's just absolutely tremendous service department that they've got over there, and you could take advantage of that service department. All right, as we wait on Jordan Bianchi, I'll just say this, and we'll open the phone lines up. If you want to jump in, you can do it at 256-5764-9777, 256-5764-9777. Chris, you might want to fire him I guess he's calling in now. So he's joining us now. I have been a NASCAR fan since before I got my driver's license 45 years ago. 45 years ago. All right? That's how long I've been a NASCAR fan. Since the mid-'70s, when I was a kid, and my grandfather introduced it to me. I've been a NASCAR fan. I drove a Petty Experience car around Homestead at 145 miles an hour or so when they reconfigured the track down there. I feel like I've seen it all. I saw the boom. I saw the glory days. I saw the first Daytona 500 race that was covered flag to flag, and I've been following the sport and been a champion of the sport for years and years. And I've been critical of the sport when it needs to be, and I've been a fan of it when it needs to be as well. So I feel like I'm a fan, but I'm a fan that is a historian when it comes to it. And what I saw at Atlanta, I thought was glorious. And I know that's not an opinion that is held by everyone. Jordan Bianchi joins us now. He wrote an excellent article at The Athletic about this. He was there for the race, and he is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jordan, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. It was certainly a race to talk about, no doubt.
It was a race to talk about. I guess I'm disappointed hearing some of the comments of the drivers, just purely as a fan. I knew they had reconfigured the track. I did not realize they were using the super speedway package in the cars. And as I watched it, I was actually watching Saturday's Xfinity race, and I was like, what am I looking at? I'm looking at, this is like a mini Daytona here. This is Talladega Light. What the hell am I looking at? This is glorious. And I thought the racing was great. So first of all, from a technical standpoint, tell us how much of this was about the track reconfiguration, reconfiguration with the higher banking and so on in the corners. And how much of this was about the package that they ran the cars with?
It was a combination. I mean, this was the idea when they redesigned this track. It was to basically make it a smaller version of Daytona and Talladega, which meant the track was going to raise the banking, and they were going to make it narrower and kind of force the cars, raise the speeds and force the cars together in a pack. And then in terms of the package, it was reducing horsepower and basically putting a cap on how much airflow goes to the engine so the drivers can't have a lot of speed, which is the same thing that happens at Daytona and Talladega, which then puts them in the draft. And that's kind of where the issue with the drivers comes in. And they always say, well, when you put us in these packs, we have no room to escape. We're kind of at the mercy of everyone else around us. And if you've got a great car, you can't get around people sometimes because you're in a pack. So that's their frustration. But I thought if you're watching that race on Sunday, I don't know how you can't watch that. And then when you compare it to previous Atlanta races over the last few years, especially the last couple of years, it was like a night and day difference between entertainment value and what you saw Sunday was, I thought, very entertaining and competitive. Now, I don't know if I want to see that every week, but I thought it was much better, and I thought it put on a good product, and I thought people who saw that were entertained to the point that they want to continue watching and see what's going to happen.
You wrote 141 green flag passes, six more than the past 6 Atlanta races combined. The bane of NASCAR over the past few years has been the mile-and-a-half cookie-cutter track. And it feels like this is some sort of an answer. From a viewing standpoint, it was edge of the seat the whole time. It wasn't one of those things where when I watch a race on a mile-and-a-half track, once they get strung out after the restart, I hit the fast-forward button. I generally will DVR the race and watch it a little bit later on in the day, and then I just kind of, as they're cutting laps, single file, whatever, I just kind of hit the fast-forward button. Not only did I not do this with this race, but last night it was on FS1. I'm watching a hockey game. I cut over to FS1 in between periods, and I couldn't stop watching it, and I watched the race already. And I still was watching it because it was so enthralling. The drivers have to understand this. I mean, I think it was, Kyle Busch that said something about, we're more entertainers, I guess, and I felt more like an entertainer than a racer. Okay, that's what you are. You are an entertainer. I mean, they got to figure it out.
Yeah, and I think, let's be honest, you kind of take what Kyle says with a grain of salt anyway, especially in that moment when he's had a bad finish. The other drivers begrudgingly recognize the fact that, this is sports versus entertainment. They do have to have an entertainment component to what they're doing, and it has to be a large component. And the drivers begrudgingly will say that, maybe this isn't the form of racing we want. But the guys I spoke to for the article, you mentioned Brad Keselowski, Corey LaJoie, they all said the same thing. If this is what the fans want, if this is what's going to get them excited and this is what they want to see, then this is what we're going to do because that's what we're here for. And so I kind of make the comparison in the article, but it's true. It's like you've seen it across the board with sports. Every sport is looking for ways to be more entertaining, to give its viewers more action, or its fans more action, right? Whether it's the NFL, the NHL, NBA, they're all looking for offense. They all want goals. They all want points. They want to make their games fast and exciting. Well, this is kind of the NASCAR version of that, of like, let's increase the offense here, and that's what they're doing. Instead of just having these monotonous, boring races, let's figure out a way to let's juice it up a little bit. So at the end of the day, it's still a race, and everybody had the same circumstances. And I will contend that if you look at the guys who were in the mix on Sunday, it's the guys you expect to be in these mixes because there's a skill component to this kind of racing, but there's a luck component to this, but there's a lot of skill to this as well, and I think that tends to get overlooked a lot. So I think the drivers are going to be okay with it as long as it doesn't happen on every mile-and-a-half racetrack, but a few times a year they're okay with it.
Yeah, and you would think, there was 8 wrecks, 8 times there was caution due to wrecks. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way, right? You would think that the drivers will adapt on some level to be able to do this, but certainly it elevates the interest in Atlanta Motor Speedway. The grandstand was packed. It's going to be even more packed next time they go there. I would think that but they'll make their adjustments so it isn't necessarily a wreck fest. It doesn't have to be that way. Maybe there's a little bit of tweaking to the package, to allow. But I saw guys slicing and dicing and moving in and out and making runs and things like that. I mean, it was just so. I texted you during the race. I'm like, this is so racy. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, but this is so racy.
Yeah, and I agree with your point about how this pack you're kind of going to evolve a little bit. And some of the three of the crashes we saw on Sunday were because of tire failures. It wasn't because guys were bumping or anything like that. It was just they had a right rear tire failure and they spun in traffic and a guy's piled in. That happens. Now, can you figure out a way to maybe prevent those tire failures? If you can do that, that would seemingly help mitigate how many accidents you have in the race. And then to your other point as well, once you come back here in July, you got to remember that it's going to be it's July. It's going to be in the summer. Sun's out, heat's out, track is slick. There's going to be more rubber on it. Tire wear is going to be more of a factor. So there's probably going to be a little bit more of a separation. So I don't think you're going to quite see the same level of the racing we saw yesterday or on Sunday that we saw or we're going to see in July, but it's still going to be close. And I stand by the comment, which is I don't know how you can't watch that race on Sunday and go, this is what we need going forward at this track, because you can't go back to that old way of having the fastest car win by 8-9 seconds and leading 300 laps out of 350 laps or whatever it is.
Right.
You just can't do it. You have to be able to give your audience a good product, and sometimes you have to kind of come up with some contrived ways to do it. But in all sports, and this is just NASCAR's version of that.
Well, the NFL survives and thrives on the fact that it's so close. I mean, the number of 3-point games in the NFL is stunning. It makes it a difficult league to bet. But it is something that, all these NFL games seem to come down to the final, the final 5 minutes of the game. So it's kind of like restrictor plate football. You know what I mean? It's the same type of thing, if you will. So, this is what people like. They want this kind of competition. There's been a little bit of slippage in college football in terms of the college football playoff because it seems like we get the same teams year in and year out. You start the year knowing that, okay, these three teams are going, and then maybe you get this team or that team in there. Here you got Corey LaJoie coming in fifth. Here you got guys that are all over the place. We know the history of Talladega. How many guys got their one and only win ever at Talladega, for example. So these are the types of things that happen when you have this. So my question is, all right, let's say we don't want it week in and week out.
Mm-hmm.
Who else can do this? I mean, could they do this at Lowe's? I mean, so that we don't have to watch that 600-mile mess. Can we have something? We know what they're doing at Fontana, making a short track.
Yeah.
So short tracks are fun. I mean, that's a whole nother deal. That'll be a short track. Bristol is Bristol. We got the dirt race. That looks like that seems to be locked in as well. Where else could you do something like this? Can you do it at Texas? Can you do it at Lowe's? Where can we do this? Nashville? Can we tear up the concrete at Nashville and do this in Nashville?
Well, we'll see about that. Nashville's a whole different ball of wax, and that's a different discussion on where that direction of that racing in that city is going to go, because obviously you got the fairgrounds there. But in terms of this package at different tracks, you mentioned the two places that probably are the best contenders if you're going to do this. One is Texas, two is Charlotte. Texas needs help badly. It is in a huge market in Dallas-Fort Worth. One time you were getting 160,000 people in that venue. The racing was terrific, and the racing is no longer terrific there. It hasn't been terrific in a long time. They've tried a lot of different things with that track. It still is not good, and the fans they've responded by not responding. They don't come out anymore. You've got to do something to revitalize the racing in that city. It's too big of a market to ignore. Something needs to be done. And if this kind of racing can jazz up the crowd there and get them excited and make that a hot race again, then you absolutely have to do it. And it would be unconstitutional to not do it. And then you mentioned Charlotte. I mean, you mentioned the 600, and I've said this before. The 600 is not what it once was. It's not an exciting race. It's 600 miles. It's pretty boring. And on a day when you're competing against the Indy 500 and often the Monaco Grand Prix, you've got to make sure if you're NASCAR, you've got an event that's worthy to go head-to-head with those. And lately, the 600 has not been that. So is this a way to fix that? I mean, that's a question that needs to be asked. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see this kind of style of racing attempted to be implemented elsewhere, and Charlotte and Texas make the most sense.
Well, and we go from one thing that looked different from anything we'd ever seen before, super speedway racing on a mile-and-a-half track, to another thing that is a little different, the Circuit of the Americas this weekend, which is another whole nother, I don't want to say experiment, but a whole nother change in NASCAR with more road courses. And I am never a fan of road. For a guy who grew up by Watkins Glen, I'm not a fan of the road course because it just seems too difficult to pass. Handicap this one for us. Is this a little bit different, or is it the same type of scenario where on these road courses it's hard to pass? Is there room? Is there places where they can get around guys?
Well, Circuit of Americas is a pretty neat road course. It's exciting. There are areas to pass. There's a lot of opportunities to make moves on guys. What is interesting about this weekend is this new car that NASCAR has, this next-gen car, was designed with road courses in mind, really kind of specifically to make the action on the road courses better. And this is the first race we've seen with this car on a road course, so it's going to be interesting to see whether all of the hype and the excitement about this car and what the potential it has on a road course lives up to it or not. Last year at COTA, it was tough. I mean, it was basically monsoon conditions, and it was not fair to anybody, and that race should have been stopped a lot quicker than it was. I think the racing is going to be good on Sunday. I'm excited to see. It's a world-class facility. They do a great job there. Formula One races there every year, and they put on a great show. IndyCar's been there before, and they've done a good job. I think NASCAR, as long as there's not a rain again, and it's supposed to be like 85 and sunny, thank goodness, it should be fine. It's going to be entertaining to watch.
What about the tire issue? Is there something going on there? It just seems to be that there's been a lot of tire problems, and of course we have the issue of when there is a flat.
Yeah.
I don't know if is there no interliner or something. It seems like these cars are dead in the water when they do get a flat.
Yeah, there is no interliner because of how way they sit. They're close to the ground, so you can't put them in there. And then there's been some wheel issues, as you mentioned. A lot of wheels have basically come off. But NASCAR says that is basically a team issue where the teams aren't getting the wheels sufficiently tight because it is a single lug nut now, and if the wheel lug nut isn't tight enough, it's basically wearing and putting pressure on the suspension, and it's kind of like brake problem there. Part of the growing pains, what you're going to have with these new cars, you're going to have, there's little things that are going to crop up along the way that you kind of got to address, and that's no different with this car and how things are going. And even last week at Atlanta with the right rear tires that were going, we had issues with. That was just kind of a thing that no one kind of foresaw, but everything is new when you go to these new tracks for the first time with this new car. You're going to have little things to deal with.
And we mentioned Nashville. Just any updated news on that as far as the fairgrounds versus the super? Listen, the super speedway. They could do what they did at Atlanta at the super speedway. If they tore that thing up and redid it, they could do that out there in Lebanon and have a full blown super speedway. But what's the latest on the fairgrounds? Because that's basically Bristol.
Yeah, I mean it's moving in the direction that eventually Speedway Motorsports is going to get a hold of that facility and able to start putting in some money into it and kind of getting it back ready for NASCAR again. There was just some kind of turnover on this basically the city council board or fair board, or to get people in place to vote. The people that they did put in place are in favor of this deal. All signs point to this going through. It's just a matter of when and not if. So assuming this goes through, and it should, best case scenario is that there is NASCAR racing at the fairgrounds in 2024. You hear 2023 a little bit kind of tossed around. That just seems a little too soon with everything that they have to do. You have to get approvals. You've got to start, building. You've got to start knocking down. You got to do all of that stuff. That just seems like a real rush timeline. 2024 seems realistic, and I think you're going to see NASCAR there, and I think it's going to be very successful. And I think I can tell you that there's a lot of people that are excited for this and really want to see this happen, and I think it will at some point.
When something like that happens, I'm just ignorant to this fact. When something like that happens, when you get a NASCAR race or a couple of NASCAR races and so on, do they still then run Friday nights, at these other tracks that NASCAR runs on? Do they still run any kind of a weekly series? Because I remember, when I was in Nashville, they were talking about tearing that thing down. I mean, they were, the community, the neighborhood was all like, the noise and everything. I'm like, well, why did you move to that? There's a racetrack right there. You moved in the backyard of a racetrack. But would something now all of a sudden we're going back to, having NASCAR there? Would that be just a couple of races a year then, or do you think that they still then run a full, weekly series?
Yeah, from what I have seen, the proposal that is out there is that NASCAR would run there a handful of times a year, and then there would be other quote-unquote weekly shows as well. However, the number of weekly shows would be diminished, so there wouldn't be as much weekly activity throughout the course of the summer. It's kind of a compromise. We're basically saying to the people in the neighborhood, listen, you're going to come in, we're going to have some really big events, and there's going to be a lot of people here. But also, we're not going to have stuff here every single week. We're still going to have stuff going on here. It's just not going to be every week. So it's kind of basically an olive branch, if you will. Seems like that's a fair compromise, and I think that's what's going to end up getting pushed across the finish line.
Yeah, some of the bigger regional races, things like that, regional championships, things like that you can do. You don't have to have, Billy Bob in his, 68 Chevy down there trying to run around and doing that deal. All right. Well, I appreciate you, man. It's good stuff, good story. And I was really excited, and I can't wait to see them do this. Just a couple of more. Just give us a couple of more places, because that would give us 2 at Daytona, 2 at Talladega, 2 at Atlanta, a couple of more places, and maybe you're going to have 6 or 7 whatever road course races. Maybe we can have 6 or 7 or 8 super speedway type looking races as well, and then we got the short tracks, and then everybody gets excited again. I think it would be great.
I think it's exciting, and I think Atlanta and its owners and the track operators deserve a lot of credit, because when they came out with this idea last summer, it was scoffed at. And I mean, I was kind of on that list too, and I said, I don't think this is going to work. I don't see how it's going to work. It worked. It works fabulous. And now, like you said, now other tracks have to look at this and say, okay, is this something we can do? So a lot of kudos to them for making it happen.
All right, man. Appreciate you as always. Great stuff.
Thanks, sir. Have a good one. Appreciate it.
Let's get a break. Phone lines are open. All right, we'll have them open the rest of the way. If you want to jump in, we can swing 16, which gets started in a couple of days. We'll do a little bit of spring football update for you as well. Auburn and Alabama both on the field this week in spring ball. Nobody really is seeing anything, so there's not just a lot of speculation, if you will. And, I'm not one usually that gets too caught up in all of the speculation type stuff, but certainly we can do that if you want to jump on that as well. It's all right here on the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
Top-seeded Gonzaga is still the favorite heading into the Sweet 16, plus 225. Arizona and Kansas each at plus 500 behind them. Houston plus 800 and Purdue at plus 900. Phil Mickelson will not compete in next month's Masters in what would have been his 30th Masters start. The announcement came Monday. Mickelson had been at plus 10,000 odds. John Rahm, the odds-on favorite, at plus 850, followed by Colin Morikawa at plus 1,100. Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas each at plus 1,200. NBA tonight, the Hawks on the road against the Knicks. Atlanta a 1.5-point favorite on the road. The over-under at 226.5, 6:30 tip-off.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey, Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford back again to talk to you about how easy it is to make a custom factory order. Just click WoodyAndersonFord.com, hit the top banner, then start making your selections. It's really simple, and you'll end up with the exact vehicle you want. Not only is there no extra charge to custom order, but at Woody Anderson Ford, we'll take 5% off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on the 2022 F-150, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Expedition, and Ranger. Another option for you is a certified pre-owned. We have over 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified are low mileage, gently used with great warranties. They've passed a 175-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Also, don't forget our service department is offering a free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental. Coming in April, Valley will have a second location opening up on the North Parkway between Winchester Road and Bob Wade. They'll be offering bigger contractor-only type equipment, including 10K reach forklifts, 300 series track hose, and larger rollers and dozers, along with other equipment. Valley Equipment's 2 locations will better serve the region and allow them to grow their fleet. Valley Equipment Rental, locally owned for 10 years, where they put more care in every rental.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A windy day across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Sustained winds 20 to 25 miles per hour. Wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. Showers and thunderstorms will move into the Tennessee Valley as we head into the middle and later part of the afternoon. That activity is going to continue as we head into the evening. Some of those storms could pack a bit of a punch, being on the strong or severe end of the spectrum. Looks like our biggest concern is going to be heavy rain and some damaging winds. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama.
TLC Sports, over 20 years. TLC Sports been in the Tennessee Valley taking care of folks around the valley with their work injuries and their sports injuries. They do such a tremendous job at TLC Sports. The docs are outstanding. I don't think I'll help me with that. Got a little bleeder going on here on my fist. I don't know where I got that from. I tend to do a lot of work with my hands. You know, I do like some woodworking and projects and stuff in the yard, and this past weekend battling with these stumps and this tree that I had fallen. I had to get my son-in-law and my son to help me out and get this stump out of the ground. And the next thing I know, I end up with cuts on my hands, and I'm on a blood thinner. Xaralto, and I bleed. I tend to bleed a little bit. I don't know what the story is there, but I tend to bleed a little bit. Oh, look, the intern is running the show right now. I don't know what's up with that. Is he getting screen time? Are you getting screen time, or are you just running the show in the background like a little like a Smurf back there in the background?
I'm not doing much of anything right now. I'm watching you.
You're just watching me?
Yeah, I'm watching you talk about your problems.
The job I did over the weekend to get that stump out of the ground?
Yeah, I helped out with that.
You did help out with that.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you helping out with that after you spent the whole weekend in Nashville at your sister's house.
Look.
And come on.
You know what? I'm gonna let you talk, but I have things. I had spring break. I didn't go to Florida like most kids. I just stayed, did stuff.
I expected you to work at the radio station for the entirety of your spring break, like 50 hours. I thought you were going to work like 50 hours at the radio station during spring break. What do you think I did during spring break when I was in college? I mean, oh man,
I could think of some things, but I'm not going to say it on radio.
Spring break is for losers. Spring break. Forget about that. By the way, do you know what this hashtag Toa Boys means? I don't. Maybe one of our callers, our listeners, can help us out with it. 256-5764-977. I get that I am tragically hip. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I am the hippest, coolest 61-year-old guy out there anywhere. I get it. You know what I mean? I know all the lingo. I know all that kind of stuff. But this kid, Nico Lamaleva, he's committed to Tennessee. He's a 5-star quarterback. This is a big get for Josh Heupel. The big get for Josh Heupel. 6'5". Well, he started out as 6'5", 195 pounds. Now, in the story coming from Tennessee Twitter, he's 6'6", 200 pounds. I expect him to be 7 foot, 250 pounds here pretty soon. But on his Twitter account and on the image that they put up, they hashtag Team Toa and hashtag Toa Boys. I don't know what that means. I mean, I'm as oh, look, it says Coach Grizz underneath.
Yeah, I know. I don't have a nameplate for him yet. He can make one if he wants.
Intern.
I don't know if it's still on the little.
What? Where the hell are you? No, I'm hearing you. Where? You went over to the studio.
I'm in the other room. I'm letting him run the slide right now.
So does anybody know what Team Toa means?
I guarantee you that it's probably could be from where they're from. Could be a word they use.
They're from Long Beach, California.
Could be a coach. Could be a coach they know that maybe that's their last name, and maybe that's who they coach or they train under or somebody.
Nico Lamalea.
Maybe it's their national. I mean, their nationality. I mean, I get it. They're from California, but maybe it's their nationality in some sort of way.
Is he? Well, the name sounds Samoan-like a little bit, maybe. Nico Lamalea.
I think I said this morning that he's related to DJ Uyunglele in some sort of fashion. So.
Still not explaining Team Toa. Where's Smokey Mike? Maybe he knows.
He probably knows. He's probably looked up all the facts. I'm trying to find something on it, but I hashtag
Team Toa and hashtag Toa Boys, and it didn't help me at all. It just was hashtag
I even
Toa
looked
Boys.
on Twitter, and I honestly couldn't.
Now here's the thing.
I don't know what it could be.
There's an image that's up. There's several images up. This is also, I think, a little something different, and I'm surprised about it. There are several images up of Lamaleva in Tennessee gear, and in all of the images, he's wearing the black Tennessee jersey with the orange numbers on it, and the black breeches with the orange numbers, and the helmet. It's the white helmet. It's not that really cool smoky helmet that they did a few years ago, which I actually liked. That had the Smoky Mountains on it, and it has a orange T on it, the power T on it. But the power T is trimmed in black, and I'm wondering why in this major announcement with this major quarterback with his number 8 and all of this kind of stuff. I'm wondering why all of the promotional materials have him in this black-on-black Tennessee uniform. Is it possible that in the second year of Josh Heupel that Tennessee is going to go to this black uniform as their primary uniform, Grizz?
Man, I hope not. I'm not even a Tennessee fan, and I'm seeing the same picture. And I love the helmet. Don't get me wrong. I do love the helmet. But it just doesn't. I don't understand that. It just looks really bad. It looks like what Grissom tried to do a few years ago that I wasn't big on when they tried to go with black jerseys. And I've just never been a fan of going away from tradition. Call me an old man, but there's a reason why a lot of times tradition matters, and I mean tradition should matter. And I don't know why you would want to go to this kind of jersey. I mean,
the
white
Big
on
Orange. That's their nickname is Big Orange. Are they going to be Big Black? I mean, I don't know what they would do with this.
I want to go back to Big Orange because that Tennessee orange is special. I mean, there's nothing cool about having an alternate black jersey. I'm sorry, and a lot of times your teams get smoked in it. And it could be bad luck. I'm a superstition guy.
Well, you know what they say about that Tennessee orange, right? I mean, you wear it. The fans wear it to the game on Saturday, and they wear it to go hunting on Sunday, and they wear it to pick up garbage alongside the road on Monday.
Well, I mean, they could have. The thing is I'm looking at this, a big orange, tarp that they have in the background of this picture too, and you look at the floor. I mean, they could have invested in a better tarp than that. I mean, there's holes in the bottom of the tarp. I mean,
that's a different picture than I'm looking at. I'm not seeing that
okay.
one.
I'm looking on his Twitter. I'm looking on his Twitter.
But on his Twitter?
Yeah, I see what you're talking about, the black jersey, and but no, I wouldn't go that route. I mean, I just don't understand it.
No, I don't get it either.
I mean, why don't you embrace your team colors, embrace your school colors?
Yeah. So anyway, that's a big get for them. And now, Alabama and Georgia were on his list, but Alabama and Georgia are also, I think, in on the Arch Manning deal, and so I think that's the big prize in the class of 2023. This kid here, he's the number 2 player out of California, ranked number 7 overall player by 24/7 Sports. This is a huge get for Josh Heupel, but that'll be negated by Alabama or Georgia if they get Arch Manning. We'll see what happens on the Arch Manning front on that deal as well. Kendall Randolph is the subject of a story by Aaron Suttles at The Athletic, talking about what Alabama's doing as they work on their offensive line. Randolph is now, he's out of Bob Jones High School, and Randolph is 6'4", 298 pounds. He was brought in as a lineman, but where have they used him, Grizz? They've used him mostly as a tight end. You know what I mean? Whenever he's had an opportunity to play, they slide him out there as a tight end, as an extra blocker type guy over there as a tight end. Now he's got his 6th year of eligibility. The question is, does he finally get an opportunity to play on this offensive line? There's a lot of battles going on there, and according to Nick Saban, he said that I think the first thing that we got to do is let Kendall Randolph, let him compete for a starting job on the offensive line, which is going to be our first priority for him this spring. All right, he was part of that 2017 class that had some absolute studs in it, and he's one of the last guys that are left there. And this offensive line, according to the story, of course, Emil Ikior and Darian Delcourt are out with injuries, so they're out for the spring, which gives them an opportunity to look at some other guys. Seth McLaughlin is getting all the snaps right now at center. He may be the center anyway. I think Seth McLaughlin's going to end up the starting center anyway, with or without Darian Delcourt being healthy. And maybe Delcourt gets an opportunity to slide out the guard. We're going to see. Saban said that Darian Delcourt played really well last year, and so did Seth when he got the opportunity to play. Darian is going to be out in the spring when he comes back. Seth is a good leader. He's a tough guy. I really feel good about those two guys. So it'll be interesting to see as they work on all of these guys. He made a comment, too, about the off season that a couple of these guys had, that they come back in better shape, and a few of these guys that had a really good off season. He says, I think they improved their bodies. Damian George had a really good off season. What is this off season he speak of? I mean, Grizz, when did they play the national championship game? Wasn't that like January 11th or 7th or 10th or something like that? Okay, so the national championship game was approximately 9 weeks ago? 8, 9, 10 weeks ago, maybe? 9 weeks ago? And did they give them a couple of days off, maybe? After that? So, I don't know. Would they have and then they reported for spring?
They had a spring break, because I heard Bryce Young talk about spring break. He went back home. So they had a spring break.
They had spring break. Now they're back on the field. But they had spring break So they reported, I think, on the 14th or 15th, something like that. And so what they have, 8-week off season maybe? I guess that's the quote-unquote off season, the time they spend in the weight room. I mean, I wonder how much you can change your body in 8 weeks. You know what I mean? What you can do there. But Saban talked about him. He says we're going to see if Javion Cohen should be a guard or a tackle. We'll see if J.C. Latham should be a guard or a tackle. Kendall Randolph at tackle. Tommy Brockmeyer has a chance to compete at tackle. He said he was kind of in and out a little bit, fighting some injury things in the offseason, but we think he'll be able to make progress this spring. Remember, the Brockmeyer brothers, that was the number 2 tackle and the number 1 center that were part of that class last year, along with J.C. Latham, that incredible offensive line class. So, Alabama is working on getting this offensive line right. They're obviously I think they're going back to being a more physical type team in terms of running the ball. One of the things that I found very fascinating is the continued movement when hiring coaches, that coaches are being hired that have offensive backgrounds. I mean, they continue to hire coaches that have offensive backgrounds. In Conor O'Gara talked about this. He said since November of 2017, we've seen 15 SEC head coaches hired. 15! Only 2 of them, Jeremy Pruitt and Clark Lee, had defensive backgrounds. And there was a 3-year gap between Jeremy Pruitt and Clark Lee. And only 4 of the 14 head coaches in the SEC right now, Mark Stoops, Lee, Nick Saban, and Kirby Smart, have defensive backgrounds. Nick Saban and Kirby Smart run this league. Why do they keep hiring coaches with offensive backgrounds? Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, they're going to national championship games. They run this league. And yet you keep hiring offensive coaches.
They like the flashy guy. They like the guy that has 4 wide and runs, the big, the quarterback with the big arm, and nobody runs, between the. It just seems like a lot of times nobody runs, under center, and guys don't like to do that nowadays too. It seems like a lot of offenses are changing that route. So nobody's running, nobody's going to certain colleges because they're running like the wing T or anything like that, or any kind of I form or anything. It's like. A lot of time. I mean, look how much Alabama's offense changed around Bryce Young. So I mean, between Mac Jones and then Bryce Young. So I mean, I think, you say. I mean, we're dominant, or they're dominant with the defensive side of the ball, defensive coaches. But it just seems like nowadays a lot of guys are looking for that hot hand, that really young offensive coordinator, or that really savvy offensive coordinator that, has really flashy plays and everything like that. Because, I mean, go look at the NFL. I mean, what's his name out in Arizona? I honestly don't think he's that great of a coach. And I think he looked hot, he looked cute because so I don't know.
Wait a minute, are you talking about like he looked cute?
No, I mean like
talking about he coached cute
because that's what I'm saying.
Cliff Kingsbury,
Cliff Kingsbury,
the women
he's
love
a nice looking guy, right? But
he's a good-looking man. I mean, I know we're comfortable in our sexuality. We can
just
say
because you had Kyler Murray,
man.
Just because you coached Kyler Murray at one time doesn't mean you're like this best offensive genius. You know what I mean? Sean McVay is like I like Sean McVay because I think he's a great play caller. So I mean, I do like Shanahan, unless he's in the Super Bowl, unless it's late in the game and he's up because he's just a moron. But I just think
college football. Yeah. I mean, we've had in the last 2 years. All right, we've had 11 defensive-minded head coaches hired at the FBS level, and 17 offensive head coaches. But in the SEC, it's amazing that in a league that has made its bones on being tough, defensive-minded, league, and that has 2 coaches that dominate the league, and Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, that year in and year out are projected to win their division and play in the SEC championship game, are defensive coaches, yet and still Everybody continues to hire offensive coaches. 10 of the 14 coaches in the SEC, offensive-minded head coaches. And it's not working, people. It's just not working.
And I mean, look at Alabama and Georgia. They can just hire whatever offensive coordinator they want. They can bring in an offensive coordinator, and they literally do what the head coach says, and they still have one of the best offenses. You know what I mean? Let alone the league and in the country.
Let's get a break in here. Phone lines are open. If you want to jump in, you can jump in. Your number is 256-576-4977. It's the Thom Abraham Show. We'll tell you what to watch on TV tonight next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Taco Bell presents a get-out-of-bedtime story. It's time to wake up from this amazing dream, even though you're jet skiing on lemonade. How extreme! And oh, look at that, you just won the lottery. Is that a castle? Take the keys, it's your property. What's better than swimming in space? Just wait for the big reveal. It's Taco Bell breakfast and it's actually real. So it's time to wake up and bid your dreams farewell. Cause toasted breakfast burritos are waiting for you. Only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
I love overpriced stuff. Avocados, designer t-shirts, artisanal water. That's why I get my internet from the other guys. Paying more for the same stuff. What could be better?
Wow is better. For just $19.99 a month, we give you the super fast, extra reliable internet you need. Act now before this deal is gone. Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, learn how to get up to $300 on us. Sign up at Huawei.com. Wow. Limited to new customers with auto pay and paperless billing. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Baseball in the Rocket City is getting closer and closer, and nobody's going to be locked out. The Rocket City Trash Pandas single game tickets are on sale now. You can buy your tickets for any one of the 69 home games this season, including opening day, 4th of July, Mother's Day, Father's Day. All of the games that we have this season are available to you now. Go to TrashPandasBaseball.com right now to get your tickets before they're gone. Trash Pandas Baseball. Have a blast.
We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want that money!
You know, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
People stay just a little bit longer. We want to play.
The game's on. Oh, I almost forgot.
to the Super Bowl. We like sports, so we don't care who knows. Football, tennis, hockey. The game is starting. Everyone is here. I got my snacks, my friends, and a beer.
So I'm gonna watch it on TV. So I'm gonna watch it on TV. So I'm gonna watch it on TV.
Brought to you by Audio Insight. Dave Bond and his team at Audio Insight do a tremendous job, and they're going to get you hooked up. They're going to make sure that when you're watching your TV that you're going to watch it in style, whether or not it is a full home theater room or maybe it's just a surround sound system that you want. Maybe all you need is a sound bar. Maybe you want to move a TV. You want to hang a TV. They can do all of that stuff. Also, though, when you're building a new home, this is the guy to call to have your place wired and set up completely perfectly for your sound system in the house, whole home systems and businesses as well. They do a tremendous job with that as well. It is Audio Insight. They're on Putman Drive, 1229 Putman Drive, right off of Jordan Lane. You can go there, or you can visit audio-insight.com. That's audio-insight.com and learn more. I apologize to Grumpy. I did not have – my call screen didn't pop up, and my nobody whispered in my ear about the phones. So I did not know that Grumpy and the Porch Dog were there. So I apologize to Grumpy on that one. But Porch Dog, I'll get to you in a moment. A little bit of thin pickings. A little bit of thin pickings tonight when it comes to what to watch on TV tonight. Is it an NBA night on one of the – I think that it's an NBA – you know what you might want to watch? If you can find it, maybe you want to check out some spring training baseball. Have you looked at any spring training baseball yet? The Atlanta Braves have won 2 of their first spring training games. 12:05 today to go against the Minnesota Twins. Tonight, the Nashville Predators and the LA Kings, they go. It's a little bit thin pickings. A little bit thin pickings. All right, let me get the Porch Dog in here. Porch Dog, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey.
Hey, man, turn down your radio.
I already have.
All right. What's going on, man? It's been a minute. Been a minute since we talked to you.
Yeah, it's been a long time. My brother, a.k.a. Underdog, diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and I think,
Wait a minute.
He's doing really well.
Yeah, he's doing well now. You broke up a little bit there. You said he had the COVID?
No, I said he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, and he's doing what I was backing up. He's been going under all the treatment and everything we have to go to. That's why you hadn't heard.
Well, I'm glad he's feeling better. You're breaking up pretty bad.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Now I can hear you. All right.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I just want to touch base with you. It's good to hear your voice. Matter of fact, my brother's good, and he's doing good. And all the people in downtown, say prayers for him. But anyway, Deshaun Watson. I know he's with your Browns. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's with your Browns. What do you think about it? Are you really happy with the
From a football standpoint, I am, because, and I'll tell you what, and thanks for the call, Porch Dog. I appreciate it. That's a good job by you, even though you're breaking up a little bit there. From a football standpoint, I'm happy with it because he is one of the top quarterbacks in a league that doesn't have enough quarterbacks to go around now. I mean, we're swapping quarterbacks around. We got Marcus Mariota's going to be starting at Atlanta. Jameis Winston's hanging on to start, make a run at New Orleans. I mean, we don't have 32 quality quarterbacks in the league, and he is a top 5 quarterback in the league. And he makes the Browns much better. There's no doubt about it. I really enjoyed Baker Mayfield. I love Baker Mayfield. My concern was him staying healthy, and my concern was he never came through in a clutch. I mean, Baker Mayfield never made the big plays in the clutch. It always seemed to be that's when he threw the interception. Or I don't think Baker Mayfield is I think he's another middle of the road type quarterback. He might go the same path as Mariota and Winston. I mean, the Browns did pick up his 5th-year option, so they're stuck with this $18 million contract this year, and that's why they can't trade him. Nobody wants the contract. Houston didn't even want him in the deal, and they got Davis Mills, all right, and they didn't even want him in the deal. The other side of it with the Deshaun Watson thing is the issue of the 22 complaints now that they're going to deal with, and that's going to be something that we're going to have to wait and see how the legal process plays out with all of that. I spent more time in the last 48 hours kind of reviewing what these women have said, and there are a lot of very interesting things in it. The guy has a certain douchebaggery about him. I mean, some of the stuff that he's done is really, bad. But as I documented yesterday, and I don't want to go back down that path, but as I documented yesterday, some of these masseuses that serviced him, I mean, this wasn't like there was only 2 that claimed that he touched, and he touched them in a sexual act that he claims was mutual. And it wasn't, they didn't claim rape or anything like that. The rest of it was all just him getting massages. He likes to get them naked. He likes to pull the towel off. I mean, you don't do stuff like that. That's not the right thing to do. But when you think about what we have seen, in society and in the NFL and in sports, there's a lot of that's out there. But he's gonna take heat for a long time about this. We just celebrated Ben Roethlisberger's career, and he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Twice Ben Roethlisberger was accused of rape. Taking a girl into a bathroom and having forcible sex with her. Rape.
Yeah.
So, and yet, I mean, there was a period of years where, people would call him Rapelessberger,
Yeah.
That was his nickname. So but by the time he got to the end of his career, he turned his life around, all of these things that they say, and now he's celebrated and going to go to the Hall of Fame and all that stuff. So we'll see how the whole thing plays out. It's very conflicting. I got to be honest with you. It is very conflicting. You look at the quarterbacks coming out of college football the next 2 cycles, I don't know where the next wave of NFL quarterbacks are coming from. All right, coming up next, Chuck Oliver, Paul Feinbaum, and The Drive with Wes and Steve, all right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service